So how long has this study been going on here?
The study at Archbold of tortoises has been going on since, well, 1967, so over 46 years now.
Wow.
And we've just gotten some grant support from Disney to keep it going.
So Betsy, I know this has to be one of your research turtles because he's walking around with a great big sign on his tail that says 216 on the back end of his shell.
Right, 216. That's one of our longtime residents of this section of the station we call Red Hill. So it's been marked and recaptured a number of times, and we've been painting numbers on all the tortoises this year.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I saw this turtle, it did not have 216 painted on its back.
Right. So I have a small army of interns this year that are recapturing the tortoises in Red Hill, and this is just to continue a long-term demographic study of their survival and longevity and things that we want to know about tortoises here in the southern part of their range.
Right, so what kind of information are we trying to get at, really, out here with these turtles?
Well, just some basic information, like I mentioned, on the population dynamics, but also we have a great opportunity with the fire history and known fire histories of all of these different fire units on the station to look at how tortoises respond to different fire regimes. And where we're sitting now, this was long fire suppressed for decades, so we're still trying to restore and reintroduce fire and a more natural fire regime. So we can look at what happens when it burns finally. And do the tortoises come back in, and how does that
Right. And you actually have, it's kind of cool when you have these really, really long data sets. You can actually look at like the area that's around us here that I know had just been burned the first time I came down. And it looked like it grew up pretty well. So that you know exactly how long that had been unburned.
Oh yeah, it was about 11 years since the last fire in this unit. And the tortoises, you could tell, had shifted their burrows. Most of the active burrows were toward the edges where there was more sunlight and some herbaceous food plants for them. So
closer to a road.
Yeah.
Which is like the trend you see throughout the range of the gopher tortoises, that they're spending more and more time near the roads because, like almost everything in Florida, gopher tortoise is fire-dependent species. It requires that fire to maintain the habitat, and when it's gone, there's just grass along the roadside. So we end up with an issue with these animals always being close to.
Yeah, I think that's something we want to look at here too, is these edge effects. And especially with juvenile tortoises, where is the actual reproduction occurring? And if the juvenile tortoises need a good diversity of food plants, not just wiregrass and grasses, but things that also have a good amount of protein and other nutrients. So maybe they have to be near the edges to get that, but it could also have a negative effect with
automobile.
That's a biggie. And also, you know, mammal predators and things that may
which tend to patrol edges anyway.
I think so. Yeah. So we're trying to collect some data on that too while we're at it.
That's incredible. That's cool. So tell me what kind of data you guys are taking here currently in the studies?
First we mapped all the burrows, and then we've made a big effort to come back and see which tortoises are in which burrows and go back to the old records. And we bring every tortoise into the lab and we take a variety of measurements to look at growth. We make sure that the drill marks on the edge of the shell are still distinct so that going forward, another 10 years when someone resurveys this, they'll still be able to tell who's who. And now we've started collecting blood samples from the tortoises up here. And I'm really excited about that part of this research in collaboration with some folks at Cornell.
And the purpose of taking the blood samples is to do?
We are going to genotype the tortoises to determine who's related to who. And we want to relate that to the long-term data on where they've been living and how they've been interacting. So we're going to collect behavioral observations, and we suspect that since they're such long-lived animals, that they may have complex social structure. I mean, they certainly have opportunities to form long-term stable associations with other tortoises in the colony. But we don't know who's related to who and whether kin relationships are important in tortoises.
So this one, I was right, number 216 on it. She's been around for a long time, right?
Yeah, 216 is a female. The 200 numbers were given out in around 1970, I think, by Dr. James Lane, who started this study in 1967. Wow. So anything with a number that low, we know is...
This is a tortoise older than me.
Yeah.
How long, do we know how long tortoises live?
No, we really don't, because there haven't been enough long-term studies that have been able to track individuals their whole life. You know, they have a lifespan like humans, so we need that long-term study. But we think it's at least 60, maybe easily 80 years.
It's a beautiful, huge turtle. Well, let's see if we can find some of these guys actually out and doing their business today. It's starting to get later in the day, and just like herpetologists, Tortoises don't like to get up early in the morning.
Right. That's why I like this study.
It's a nice animal to study, yeah.